the i'lan of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam about the da'wah and all the prophecy and all that. So all the companions of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam got in a very hardship place since then. So we're talking about, this is year 5 after the prophecy, after the da'wah, after the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, the start of, like, he's around 45 years old. That's give or take. So, and we talked how last time that they were attacking the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, saying he's sahir, he's majnoon and all that. We see the Quran. They are attacking the Quran, that he is getting that from somebody, and then the Quran comes and say, لسان الذي يلحدون إليه أعجمي وهذا لسان عربي مبين. SubhanAllah, how that is happening. So the Quran is refuting one thing after another, and how they had the defending form of media to kind of like, no, I have all the stories of the Persian, you don't need to listen to Muhammad and all that, SubhanAllah. So we don't want to go back to all this. So all this has been very systematic to attack the deen and the da'wah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. The normal thing is when the companions are tortured, and Ammar ibn Yasir started to make this, and this is what we ended up. Ammar ibn Yasir went to the Prophet, that this is what happened. I had to curse you and insult you. And the Prophet told him, alayhi salatu wasalam, in adu fa'ud, because it depends on what's in your heart. So, and this you will see, and I'm trying to have this in a very chronological way, so you can know the steps, how things were going during this da'wah, and reflect on our time. Al-Khabbab, one of the greatest companion of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, Khabbab ibn al-Arat, and you will see him inshallah later on in the part of the Da'wah al-Madaniyah, and after they went to Medina and all that. Very smart companion. And he went to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam after talking to a lot of the companions, asking the companion, make dua to remove all this bala. SubhanAllah, that's our tool, the dua, right? And SubhanAllah, this is a great test and a great message for all of us. We have the bala in all these countries, SubhanAllah, and Gaza and all this, and we have the bala of all the people, even the Muslims are kind of like not doing anything, and in the opposite is actually worse, making like harder and all this, and all the countries, SubhanAllah. So bala, and this is bala, and this is like having this, and SubhanAllah, we don't know what's going to happen even in the coming year and all that. SubhanAllah, everything is going. So Khabbab went to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, you see what's happening to us and what's happening to Bilal and Ammar and all that. Make dua to remove all these trials and remove all that things and make it easy for us. We are following you. So SubhanAllah, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he told him, Ala tastansiru lana, don't you ask Allah for victory? Don't you ask Allah to give us some hope about this? Ala tad'u Allah lana. And this, SubhanAllah, in Zad al-Bukhari. So this is in Sahih al-Bukhari. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam got very intense about the message, because this is a message for all of us as well. This is happening for a wisdom. This is happening for the reason. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, كان رجل في من قبلكم يحفر له في الأرض. He told him, the people before you, they used to dig a hole in the ground for them. فيجعل فيه فيجاء بالمنشار. So he been dig in the hole, they put the man and he cannot move, and then they get the saw, SubhanAllah, a big saw to put on his head. فيشق بإثنتين. So he is like going with the saw and he's awake, going through the saw through his face, and he's alive, SubhanAllah. So the Prophet telling him, the people before you used to dig a hole, put a man getting the saw inside his head, and to be split into two halves. وَمَا يَصُدُّهُ ذَلِكَ عَنْ دِينِهِ. This will not affect his deen, SubhanAllah. All the way until the end that he pass, he does not change his deen. وَيُمَشَّطْ بِأَمْشَاطِ الْحَدِيدِ. They get all these swords and remove the flesh from the bones and the nerves in front of him while he is alive. مَا دُونَ لَحْمِهِ مِنْ عَظْمٍ وَعَصَبٍ وَمَا يَصُدُّهُ ذَلِكَ عَنْ دِينِهِ. SubhanAllah, he is reminding him about the torture of people of Islam before this time, SubhanAllah. So tell him, stay fixated on the path and still be a good, like, patient and have the sabr and all this. And Wallahi la yutimmanna Allah hadha al-amr. By Allah. So he's swearing, the Prophet ﷺ making swearing for him, Allah is going to complete this matter of Islam. Wallahi la yutimmanna Allah hadha al-amr. Subhanallah. The same message to us. Subhanallah. We are here, Gaza, in any place and all this, subhanallah. And the message to us is, by Allah, Allah will give the victory to this matter, to Islam. Wallah al-Azim, it's the same message. Until the rider will ride from Sana'a ila Hadramaut, subhanallah. And they are saying also from all the way from either place of Yemen all the way to Hadramaut, subhanallah, in Yemen. And لا يخاف إلا الله أو الذئب على غنمه. He does not have any fear. Taking all this message, it's kind of like the places and riding and all this, have no fear except Allah, and just maybe fear of wolves on his sheep, subhanallah. وَلَكِنَّكُمْ, and this is the whole point of all that, تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. But you are impatient. You have no sabr. You just want everything to be fixed now. You want Allah to give you the victory now. Victory has a price. And Islam has a price. Whether you die in a state of victory or in a state of defeat, it has a price. And Allah has a wisdom in it. You try your best. Nothing is changing, alhamdulillah. Then we have the sabr. And we have the shukr. So this is qada Allah. The message of the Prophet ﷺ for Khabbab is good for all the Muslim that is mustadafin any place on this earth, subhanallah, until the end of time. This is why we are studying the seerah and learning about what the Prophet ﷺ would say. If the Prophet is sitting here with us, you will go and ask him the same thing as Khabbab. Nothing wrong with that, subhanallah. Tell him, Prophet, can you make dua for the people of Gaza, Rohingya, all the people that is going like through this, all our countries that is defeated and all this, subhanallah. The same response, subhanallah. We have it in our seerah, al-Bukhari, that we are tasta'jilun. So continue with the dua and the hard work. Subhanallah. After that, the Prophet ﷺ obviously heard what Khabbab said. And the Quran revealed, and this is important to understand what is the message in the Quran so we can connect. The Quran came in Surah Al-Ankabut, the ayah of the Prophet ﷺ that was revealed to him. يا عبادي الذين آمنوا إن أرضي واسعة فإياي فاعبدون. O my slaves, my land is vast. فإياي فاعبدون. So for me, give me ibadah. What does that mean? My land is vast. What does that mean? Go places. If you are having istud'af hina, if you're having torture here, if you're having all this torment, if you fear for your life, go someplace. Migrate. It's all the land of Allah. Right or not? This is a message, subhanAllah. So the Amr came in the Quran, Surah Al-Ankabut, about this. And came after the companion and the Khabbab was talking about أَلَا تَسْتَنصِرُ لَنَا. So he told the Sahaba about the immigration. لو خرجتم إلى أرض الحبشة. Maybe you should go to Habasha, Abyssinia. And فإن بها ملكا لا يظلم عنده أحد. It has a king that has no oppression, subhanallah. Obviously the king of Habasha was not Muslim. We know that, right? But he has no zulm, he has no oppression. So you might be safe there, subhanallah. Very similar to every one of us, subhanallah. Sometimes we migrate or people migrate leaving a place, what we call now, what do we call it now, Sheikh? We call it asylum, right? We have an asylum, right? That's wallahi, that's what it is. I have fear of this, I have this and this. I'm going to have asylum in this and this. Subhanallah, the same thing. But we have it in the Quran. As the Shaykh was saying, everything with the Quran and the Sunnah. Inna ardiya wasi'a. Ya ibadi. Subhanallah, Allah is talking to all of us that the land is vast. Go. Find a place that you are safe. Find an asylum in a safe place so you can make ibadah as I want you, subhanallah, without your fear. لو خرجتم إلى أرض الحبشة فإن بها ملكا لا يظلم عنده أحد وهي أرض صدق. And it is a land of honesty and truth. حتى يجعل الله لكم فرجا مما أنتم فيه. Until Allah will make an exit for you from any hardship, subhanallah. So immediately some of the Sahaba migrated to make sure to go and travel and escape. It is an escape at that time, right? They are tormented to go to Habasha. Okay, how many people, subhanallah, this is what I want and hope inshallah I am. 11 men and 4 women. So 11 and 4. So total about 15. That's all of the Hijratul Habasha al-Ula, the first migration to Habasha. So they went there, and this is what year is that? The 5th year of Hijrah. So the Prophet is how old? 45, we said, right? Prophet is 45. Very early on, all the defeat is happening. Who is the Amir? Who is the leader of that Hijrah? His name is Uthman ibn Mad'un. Uthman ibn Mad'un. Subhanallah. The ulama saying this was a khayru dar fi khayri jar, one of the best places, the best places. And subhanallah, they went there on the 5th year of Hijrah during the month of Rajab. How long they stayed? They stayed Rajab, Sha'ban, Ramadan. And then they heard about what happened to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam during Qira'at Surah Al-Najm. In Ramadan, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam went and read Surah Al-Najm for عند al-Kaaba. And subhanallah, everyone there, non-Muslim, as soon as he said فَاسْجُدُوا لِلَّهِ وَاعْبُدُوا at the end of the Surah Al-Najm, everybody immediately made sujood. Subhanallah. فَاسْجُدُوا لِلَّهِ وَاعْبُدُوا. Subhanallah. And this is Sirat ibn Hisham. So, subhanallah, the news about that came to the people to the Habasha. And they only been there for 3 months. So, subhanallah, immediately they think, our homes now, they turn to be Muslim. And we left our businesses, we left our families and everything, let's go back. So after 3 months in Habasha, they said, okay, well, let's go back. And I want to, subhanAllah, give you an example of who are the 15, inshallah, within the, not too much, so you can know the names, subhanAllah. Among them, we said Uthman ibn Maz'un, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, who is among them. Abdurrahman ibn Auf, Uthman ibn Affan, wa Ruqayya bint Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Can you imagine, daughter of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam was among the people to leave Mecca, leave her father. Subhanallah. And how is the heart of that? So things, if you actually think more and know more about the seerah, subhanallah, you will find things that will wallahi give you calmness in every part of your life. That Ruqayya was among the people of the 15th, among these people, subhanallah, and Uthman ibn Affan. And Az-Zubayr ibn al-Awwam was at that time, subhanallah. And Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was among the first people to have Hijrat al-Habasha. Inshallah, we're not going to spend too much time on that, so for the sake of continuation, but they went back as soon as they got close to Mecca, they knew about what's happening, and it was not true. Even, subhanAllah, during the time, فَاسْجُدُوا لِلَّهِ وَعْبُدُوا, there is a hadith that is very clear that even Umayyah ibn Khalaf, subhanAllah, Za'im al-Kuffar, subhanAllah, at that time, that one of the very big leaders of shirk, he even got some of the dust and made sujood on that. And subhanallah, this in Akhraj al-Bukhari fi Sahihi. Subhanallah, the one who is mentioning that, Shaykhan fi Sahima, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. He mentioned that أول سورة أنزلت سجدت والنجم فسجد رسول الله وسجد من خلفه إلا رجل. Everybody made sujood except one man. I have seen him took a dust from the land and made sujood on that, and I have seen him قتل كافرا. And he died on Kufr, Umayyah ibn Khalaf, subhanallah. And this is Al-Bukhari fi Sahih. So anyways, they went back to Al-Habasha, to Mecca, and as soon as they found out, subhanallah, that nothing has changed, they immediately knew that the torture is even more and worse and all that. They immediately went back to Hijrat al-Habasha Thaniya, the second one. But the people at that time, subhanallah, this is important, 82 men and 19 women. And the Tabari saying this 19 could be 18 and this 82 could be 83. So we're not talking about much. Why the number is big? Because of this number, subhanAllah, went and told them, this country is safe. Come bring your family, bring your kids and all that. So more people of Islam, subhanAllah, migrated at that time. And if you knew the names that went to Habasha at that time, it's subhanAllah. At that time, who's the leader for them? At that time, Ja'far ibn Abi Talib. Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, subhanAllah, is like, we talked about him, he's like the brother of the Prophet ﷺ that was raised from him. He stayed in there until Khaybar, subhanAllah. All the way from the 5th year after Ba'tha, all the way until Khaybar, which is 7th year after the time of Medina, subhanAllah. This is like 8 years plus 7 years, 15 years. Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, Ja'far al-Tayyar, subhanallah. And then he went to Khaybar. So if you understand why the Muslim at that time, not everything has to be next to the Prophet ﷺ. You have to see where Allah wanted you at that time. How many people of Habasha become Muslim because of this nucleus, subhanallah. How all this is happening with the wisdom from Allah that we don't know. But you see at the details and you understand that all these, subhanallah. And Ja'far, all this time has been all the way in Hijrat al-Habasha, living there until Khaybar, and he ended up on Shahada Ja'far al-Tayyar, subhanallah. So nothing changed, and Ruqayya was among the first to migrate, subhanallah. So أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم إن شاء الله. Good luck with your test, inshallah, and see you next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Rahim, mashallah. So who's ready to win a 3-day trip to Islamic Center of Pflugerville? Inshallah, the first place will win a 3-day trip to Islamic Center of